She just dethroned a defending champion. She already owns a win over this world number 10. Now, Eala is one match away from the biggest semifinal of her career, and the woman standing across the net is coming for revenge. She is just 21 years old, and already Eala has built a reputation that strikes fear into the hearts of champions, not just because she wins, but because of who she beats. Over the past year, this young woman from Manila has systematically dismantled some of the biggest names in tennis. She has beaten Olympic gold, silver, and bronze medalists. She has dethroned defending Grand Slam champions. And now, she has set her sights on the world number 10. Before we dive into what awaits her in Washington, we have to understand the path that brought her here. Because this is not a story of overnight success. This is the culmination of years of sacrifice, training, and an unshakable belief that she belongs among the elite. Just a few weeks ago, Eala stunned the tennis world at Wimbledon. She didn't just compete, she conquered. She marched through the draw and found herself facing the defending champion, Elina Svitolina, on center court. And she beat her. That victory propelled her to a new career-high ranking of world number 28. But for Eala, that was just the beginning. She didn't stop to admire her success. She kept pushing, kept grinding, kept proving that her name deserves to be mentioned alongside the sport's greats. Now, let's talk about what she has done here in Washington at the Mubadala City DC Open. This is a WTA 500 event, and the competition is fierce. But Eala has made it look almost easy, even when it's anything but. Her campaign began with a match that felt like destiny. She faced Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist from China. This was personal. 3 years ago, at the Asian Games, an 18-year-old Eala had pushed Zheng to the limit before falling in 3 sets. That loss haunted her. It was a reminder of how close she was and how far she still had to go. But in Washington, Eala was a different player. She was older, wiser, and more dangerous. The match was a war. Zheng took the first set, and it looked like history might repeat itself. But Eala refused to break. She dug deep, found another gear, and roared back to win the second and third sets. She avenged that Asian Games loss and, in doing so, completed an incredible feat. She became one of the few players in the world to defeat all 3 medalists from the Paris Olympics. That is not just a stat. That is a statement. I think it's definitely a mindset that you have, Eala said after that victory. That being said, I think it's been trained or I've practiced. I've had more experience now to implement that mindset at the higher level. Those words reveal something critical about her. She doesn't just rely on talent. She has trained her mind to be just as strong as her forehand, and that mindset was about to be tested again immediately. Her next opponent was Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion, the Canadian star who had beaten Eala earlier this year in Stuttgart. This was a revenge match, and the pressure was immense. What happened next was the kind of performance that defines a career. Eala came out firing and won the first set easily, 6-2. But Fernandez is a fighter. She stormed back in the second set, winning 5 straight games to take a 5-1 lead. It seemed inevitable that the match was going to a third set. The momentum had completely shifted. But then something clicked. Eala didn't panic. She didn't let the frustration consume her. She just kept fighting, point by point, game by game. I know that she was playing a little better, and maybe my level dropped a little bit, Eala admitted later. I think those are very tricky moments when you know your level's dropped and you want to do better. But things just, for one reason or another, aren't coming out. I think patience was key there, and just trying to work it out and have a strong mentality in terms of trying to find solutions. She found those solutions. She clawed her way back to 5-6, forcing a tiebreak. And in that tiebreak, she was flawless. She dominated Fernandez 7-1 to seal the victory. It was a masterclass in resilience. She had just dethroned the defending champion in straight sets, despite being on the brink of defeat. After the match, Eala ran straight to her coach, Joan Bosch. He had been her confidant, her rock, throughout this emotional roller coaster. He said that I just have to keep going, because if I'm there for every ball, I'll have my chances, Eala shared. And I did. Like always, he's right. I think it helps me feel like I'm not alone on court. That bond, that trust has been a crucial part of her rise. She doesn't just have a coach. She has a partner who believes in her every step of the way. So now, here she is, in the quarterfinals of a major WTA event. She has already beaten a former world number 4 and the defending champion. But her biggest test yet is waiting for her on the other side of the net. Elina Svitolina, the world number 10. This isn't just another match. This is a clash of styles, a test of wills, and a chance for Eala to prove that her victory over Svitolina in Berlin was no fluke. It's a chance to step into the semifinals, to break into the top 25 of the world rankings for the first time in her career. And it's a chance to show the world that the rise of Eala is only just beginning. The crowd will be behind her, the entire Philippines will be watching, and Elina Svitolina will be waiting. The question is Eala ready to do it all over again? To truly understand the magnitude of what Eala is about to face in the quarterfinals of the Mubadala DC Open, we have to trace the path that got her here. Because this isn't just another tournament run, this is a redemption tour, a statement, a declaration that the young woman from Manila is no longer just a promising talent. She is a legitimate threat to the best players in the world. Let's rewind to the beginning of this tournament. The Mubadala DC Open is a WTA 500 event, one of the biggest stops on the North American hardcourt swing. The field is stacked with Grand Slam champions, Olympic medalists, and established veterans. For Eala, this was an opportunity to prove that her historic Wimbledon run was not a fluke. And she did exactly that. Her first opponent was Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist from China, the former world number 4. The woman who had beaten Eala 3 years ago in a heartbreaking semifinal at the Asian Games. That loss had stung. It had reminded an 18-year-old Eala just how far she still had to go. But in Washington, Eala was a different player. She was older, wiser, and she had a score to settle. The match was a war of attrition. Zheng took the first set, 6-4, and it looked like history might repeat itself. The Chinese star was firing aces, and her powerful game was putting Eala on the defensive. But Eala refused to break. She dug deep, found another gear, and roared back to win the second set, 6-4. Then, in the decider, she completely took control, winning 6-1. She avenged that Asian Games loss and, in doing so, completed a remarkable feat. She had now defeated all 3 medalists from the Paris Olympics. That is not just a statistic. That is a statement of intent. I think it's definitely a mindset that you have, Eala said after that victory. That being said, I think it's been trained or I've practiced. I've had more experience now to implement that mindset at the higher level. Those words reveal something critical about her. She doesn't just rely on talent. She has trained her mind to be just as strong as her ground strokes. And that mindset was about to be tested again. Her next opponent? Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion. The woman who had beaten Eala in straight sets in Stuttgart just a few months earlier. This was personal. If you thought the Zheng match was dramatic, you haven't seen anything yet. The match against Fernandez was the kind of performance that defines a career. Eala came out firing and won the first set in just 34 minutes. The Canadian star looked rattled. Her game was error-prone, and Eala was pouncing on every mistake. But then, in the second set, everything changed. Fernandez found her rhythm. She won 5 straight games to build a seemingly insurmountable 5-1 lead. The momentum had completely shifted. The crowd, which had been firmly behind Eala, grew tense. It looked like the match was going to a third set. It looked like Eala's incredible run might finally hit a wall. But here's the thing about champions. They don't give up. They find a way. Eala didn't panic. She didn't let the frustration consume her. She just kept fighting, point by point, game by game. I know that she was playing a little better, and maybe my level dropped a little bit, Eala admitted later. I think those are very tricky moments when you know your level's dropped, and you want to do better. But things just, for one reason or another, aren't coming out. I think patience was key there, and just trying to work it out, and have a strong mentality in terms of trying to find solutions. She found those solutions. She clawed her way back from 1-5 to 5-5, then 6-6, forcing a tiebreak. In that tiebreak, she was flawless. She dominated Fernandez 7-1, clinching the match in 1 hour and 53 minutes. She had just dethroned the defending champion, avenged a painful defeat, and punched her ticket to the quarterfinals. The significance of this victory cannot be overstated. Eala has now won 5 straight matches against top-tier competition, and she's done it with the weight of a nation on her shoulders. The Philippine House of Representatives has even adopted a resolution honoring her achievements, recognizing her as the first Filipino to reach the round of 16 in a Grand Slam singles tournament. An entire nation is watching her every move, and she is thriving under the pressure. This run is just incredible, not just for me, but for Philippine tennis, Eala said. And she's right. Every victory she earns is a victory for an entire country of aspiring athletes who finally have a hero to look up to. But now, the road to glory gets even harder. Because waiting in the quarterfinals is Elina Svitolina, the world number 10, the veteran with over 20 career titles and a resume that includes 3 Grand Slam semifinals. This is the woman who stands between Eala and the biggest semifinal of her career. And if you think Eala is intimidated, think again. Because she has already beaten Svitolina once before, in Berlin just a few weeks ago on grass. She knows she can do it. The question is, can she do it again on hard courts, under the bright lights of Washington, with everything on the line? I have a lot of ammunition now, Eala said about her recent success. You always want to win, and you always want to fight. But I think now with the progress I've had this past year, I have a bit more of ammunition to back it up. That ammunition will be put to the test in just a few moments. The world number 10 is waiting, and Eala is ready. Standing across the net from Eala in the quarterfinals is a woman who has seen it all. Elina Svitolina is 31 years old. She has been ranked as high as number 3 in the world. She has won 20 WTA singles titles, including 3 Italian Open crowns. She has reached the semifinals of 3 different Grand Slams: Wimbledon, the US Open, and the Australian Open. She is a mother, a veteran, and one of the most feared competitors on the tour. But when she walks onto the court at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center on Saturday morning, she will be carrying more than just her resume. She will be carrying a score to settle. Just 6 weeks ago, in the quarterfinals of the Berlin Open, these 2 women met for the first time, and Eala stunned the tennis world. It was a grass court battle, and Eala played nearly flawless tennis. She won 6-3, 6-4 in 1 hour and 23 minutes. She hit 19 winners and made only 9 unforced errors. She broke Svitolina's serve 5 times. It was the kind of performance that leaves a mark. She's a great fighter, and I've seen her many times, Eala said after that victory. I've been watching her since I was a kid, so it's an honor to compete against her today. Those words were genuine. But they also carried a quiet confidence. Eala was telling the world that she belonged on the same court as the elite. Now, Svitolina has a chance to remind her who's boss. They have only played each other once on the WTA tour, which went the way of Eala. The Filipina star knocked Svitolina out of the Berlin Open on the grass, which has lingered in the mind of the Ukrainian. That quote from tournament observers reveals everything you need to know. This isn't just another match for Svitolina. This is personal. I was not expecting to play perfectly in the first match, Svitolina said after advancing to this quarterfinal. When you have a break, when you have not played competitively for a bit, it's not easy. She's downplaying it, but make no mistake. Svitolina has been thinking about this rematch since the moment she lost in Berlin. And she's right about one thing. The surface is different. Berlin was grass. Washington is hard court. That changes everything. Svitolina has been open about embracing this challenge. Tomorrow is a new surface, new country, a new city, so it's a new challenge, she told the WTA. And hopefully I'm going to draw some confidence from today's match and carry it into tomorrow. She knows she's the favorite. She knows she's ranked 19 places above Eala. She knows she's won 3 Italian Open titles and has beaten the best players in the world, Coco Gauff, Iga Swiatek, Elena Rybakina, to do it. But Eala has a weapon that rankings and titles can't defeat. Belief. Eala has already proven she can beat Svitolina. She's already proven she can beat the defending Wimbledon champion, the Olympic gold medalist, and the defending Washington Open champion, all in the span of a few weeks. The mental edge is hers. And that is what makes this quarterfinal so terrifying for Svitolina. Then again, every single player here is a fighter, Eala said during her interview with Tennis Channel. And whether it's my opponent today, the one yesterday, the one before that, or the one tomorrow, we're here because we're fighters, so you cannot count anybody out. She respects Svitolina. She admires her, but she does not fear her. Svitolina enters this match as the veteran, as the second seed, as the woman with everything to prove after losing to Eala just weeks ago. And Eala enters this match as the young challenger who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Sometimes, that's the most dangerous combination in all of sports. When Eala steps onto the court at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center on Saturday morning, she will be facing not just a world number 10, but a master tactician who has spent years dismantling the best players in the world. Elina Svitolina is a three-time Italian Open champion. She has beaten Coco Gauff, Iga Swiatek, and Elena Rybakina. She has reached 3 Grand Slam semifinals. She knows every trick in the book. But here's the thing, Eala knows her too, and she has already proven she can win. In their only previous meeting, at the Berlin Open quarterfinals last June, Eala delivered a masterclass on grass. She won 6-3, 6-4, hitting 19 winners and breaking Svitolina's serve 5 times. It was a victory that sent shockwaves through the tennis world. But Svitolina has been thinking about that loss ever since. It was not an easy battle for me, Svitolina admitted after her second-round win in Washington. She didn't hide her frustration. She didn't make excuses. She acknowledged that Eala played well, that the grass court season was good for the young Filipina. But then she added something that should send chills down the spine of every Eala fan watching. Tomorrow is a new surface, new country, a new city, so it's a new challenge, Svitolina said. Those words are not just confidence, they're a warning. Svitolina is telling the world that the grass court defeat was a surface issue, not a skill issue, and she is right. Grass favors attackers. It rewards aggressive shot-making, quick points, and first-strike tennis. That is exactly Eala's game. But hard courts? They are the great equalizer. They reward consistency, patience, and court coverage, all areas where Svitolina excels. The Ukrainian veteran knows that on hard courts, she has a better chance to neutralize Eala's weapons and force her into long, grinding rallies. And that is where experience matters most. But let's not forget who Eala has already beaten in Washington. She beat Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist, on hard courts. She beat Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion, on hard courts. She is 7-4 against top 10 players in her career. This is not a player who only wins on one surface. This is a player who wins everywhere. The key for Eala will be her serve. In her victory over Fernandez, she struggled at times, but she found her rhythm when it mattered most. Against Svitolina, she will need to hold serve consistently and put pressure on the Ukrainian's return game. Svitolina is one of the best defenders on tour, but she can be beaten. Eala has already done it. Svitolina will likely try to frustrate Eala with her defensive game, pushing the Filipina to hit extra shots and force errors. She will try to dictate the tempo of the rallies, using her court coverage to extend points and wait for mistakes. But Eala has shown she has the patience to match anyone. Against Fernandez, she was down 1-5 in the second set and refused to panic. She clawed her way back, found her solutions, and dominated the tiebreak 7-1. I think patience was key there, and just trying to work it out, and have a strong mentality in terms of trying to find solutions, Eala said after that match. That same patience will be essential against Svitolina. The Ukrainian will try to make Eala uncomfortable. She will try to drag her into long rallies. She will try to test her fitness and her mental fortitude. But here's the thing about Eala. She has already passed every test thrown at her this week. She has already beaten 2 champions. She has already shown she belongs on this stage, and she is playing with the weight of an entire nation behind her. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? We are about to find out. The morning sun rises over Washington, D.C. on Saturday, August 1, 2026, at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center, a 21-year-old from Manila, is about to step onto the court for the biggest match of her young career. Standing across the net is Elina Svitolina, the world number 10, the three-time Italian Open champion, the woman with 4 Grand Slam semifinals on her resume. But here's what makes this moment different. This is not just another match. This is a chance for Eala to etch her name into the history books of Philippine sports forever. Think about what she has already accomplished in just 7 days. She walked into this tournament and defeated Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist who had beaten her 3 years ago at the Asian Games. She then took down Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion, in a match where she was down 1-5 in the second set before roaring back to win 7-1 in the tiebreak. 2 defending champions. 2 top-tier opponents. 2 statements that scream to the world, Eala is here to stay. The windy conditions. It was definitely a factor, but ultimately something I couldn't control, Eala admitted after the Fernandez victory. I think I'm super proud of how I fought and how I stayed in there. Those words reveal the heart of a champion. She doesn't make excuses. She finds solutions. And now, she has a chance to prove it all over again. Svitolina, for her part, has made it clear that she is not intimidated by Eala's momentum. It was not an easy battle for me, she said of their Berlin meeting. But she quickly added, tomorrow is a new surface, new country, a new city, so it's a new challenge. And hopefully I'm going to draw some confidence from today's match and carry it into tomorrow. She's right about one thing. The surface is different. Berlin was grass. Washington is hard court. And hard courts favor the experience and defensive brilliance of a veteran like Svitolina. But what Svitolina may not fully appreciate is that Eala is 7-4 against top 10 players in her career. She doesn't just beat champions, she makes a habit of it. There's a reason the entire Philippines is watching this match. There's a reason the Philippine House of Representatives has already adopted a resolution honoring her achievements. Eala is not just playing for herself anymore. She is playing for a country that has waited decades for a tennis hero to call their own. I think it's just part of my character, Eala said when asked about her composure under pressure. But then again, every single player here is a fighter. All of us here are fighters. Whether it's my opponent today, yesterday, tomorrow, you can never count anybody out. Those words should send chills down your spine. Because what Eala is telling the world is this. She respects her opponents, but she fears none of them. She has already beaten Svitolina once. She has already proven she belongs on this stage. And now, with a semifinal berth on the line, with 195 ranking points within reach, with a chance to break into the top 25 of the world rankings for the first time in her career, she is ready to do it all over again. What happens when a rising superstar meets a veteran determined for revenge? What happens when a nation's hopes rest on the shoulders of a 21-year-old who has already defied every expectation? We are about to find out. Because when Eala steps onto that court, she isn't just playing for herself. She's playing for every kid in the Philippines who ever picked up a tennis racket and dreamed of something bigger. She's playing for every underdog who was told they didn't belong. And she's playing to prove that sometimes the best story in sports is the one nobody saw coming. The stage is set, the cameras are rolling, and the world is watching. The question is, are you? Eala has already done the impossible this week. She's beaten an Olympic champion and a defending champion. Now she faces her toughest test yet, a world number 10 hungry for revenge. Win or lose, she has already proven that she belongs among the elite. But if she wins, she cements her legacies as the greatest Filipino tennis player of all time. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. We bring you the biggest stories in tennis, drama, and emotion every single week. Don't miss what happens next.